You have to believe one of two things about any major political change. And the first one is that it will be absolutely catastrophic in a permanent way, in which case, frankly, none of this matters and we all just need to start buying canned goods as quickly as possible. Or you believe that the system rights itself, and so the fundamental economic forces will ride out those changes. So the way I think about the world is, regardless of what the federal government does or doesn't do in the next 4 years, the evolution of new drugs that attack obesity and a better understanding of the gut biome and all these new longevity tech are not going to stop happening regardless of what's happening in DC. And we're going to see them evolve. They may slow down or speed up or get shifted left or right based on policy, but again, the cat's sort of out of the bag on them. In the same way that I would say, I don't think I have to be a brilliant economist to say that whether or not there's a subsidy for EV vehicles at this point, it seems like EV vehicles are here to stay. I don't imagine a world where suddenly everyone stops buying them if the federal subsidies disappear. So I think that a lot of these really interesting business and technology trends, the road could be bumpier or lighter over the next 4 years, but they're going to happen regardless.
Yeah, and to your point, I think there's also a role for the states. It looks like California may actually step up if the federal government cuts back subsidies for electric vehicles. We're the largest auto market in the country, one of the largest in the world, and that has a huge effect. And also, California is where a lot of EVs have historically been bought. So one does wonder about how the applicability of such a powerful state with such a huge economy, like what the wider effect can be and where these waves meet each other, maybe.
Absolutely.
So in the ocean of regulatory policy, healthcare, our costs continue to increase. You and I are small business owners. We've been employees, both corporate and startup. We have a sense of what that looks like. It continues to be very expensive. Healthcare outcomes really haven't changed. There's a lot more PE money in healthcare. And at the same time, maybe there are going to be changes to federal policy around healthcare. And so I do wonder how all of that affects the wider question of just as a consumer and then as a participant on the business side, what that might look like.
Absolutely. And I think it gets even more complicated because I think all these healthcare issues are intertwined with broader cultural issues, societal issues of economic inequality. Healthcare is complicated enough and you can't even look at that in a bubble.